Alison. I'm the Programs, Outreach, and Youth Services Manager here at Monterey County Free Libraries. Thank you for joining me today for another episode of Book Chat. Today I am going to be talking to you about All My Mother's Lovers, and this is by Ilana Masad. It came out in 2020, and it is 315 pages long. This story follows the main character, Maggie, in the days after her mother's death in a car accident. So Maggie is in her late 20s. She lives in another state. Her family is from California, and she is told that her mom died in a car crash, and she flies home for the funeral and to sit Shiva with her family. During the course of time that she is at home, she discovers her mom's will, which has instructions to mail a series of letters to a number of different men. And Maggie decides, in her grief for a point of direction, that she is going to, instead of just mailing these letters to these men, she is going to drive them to each man and hand deliver them individually to figure out who these people were to her mother. Maggie and her mom Iris had a very strained relationship, and this seems to be Maggie's way of learning more about her mom, coping with her grief, and finding some sort of closure. And throughout the process, Maggie learns a ton about her mother and some things that she never really knew at all and probably would have helped to change the course of their relationship. The book is told from Maggie's perspective for the most part, with some chapters that are from Iris's perspective and give a little bit more context to her relationships with these men. And it's really not a spoiler, as the cover says, All My Mother's Lovers. Each one of these men was somebody that Iris had a relationship with, whether it was physical or in a couple of cases, just an emotional relationship. But these are the men throughout her life that she loved and wanted to say something to in the event of her death. So I'm going to read a little section from the beginning of the book where Maggie is making the choice to visit these men and hand deliver the letters. Having something to do feels better than not, so she decides she'll take a walk to wherever there's a mailbox. Her legs are stiff from standing in place, shifting from foot to foot most of the day, and it feels like she hasn't really moved in days. She kneels on the floor and flips the letters over, looks at the names on them. Carl Jellin, Abraham K. Okafor, Liam Ainsworth, Harold Lake Brooks, Eric Bashan. Who are these people? Maggie hasn't heard of any of them, never heard her mother mention them. Were any of them at the funeral? Were they clients? Friends? She finds her mother's filofax again and flips to the address book at the back. Next to the names of her work-related contacts, Iris wrote their roles: caterer, photographer, client, manager, concierge, and so on. But these men, when Maggie finds them, aren't designated as anything, so they're social contacts, not professional. Huh, she says aloud to the empty room. She wants to ask Ariel if he's heard of them, but can hear him talking to Leona through his closed door. Peter is still asleep, or pretending, in the living room. And then skipping forward a little bit. Later, Maggie won't remember how it happened, how she found herself in her bedroom, piling the things she'd scattered back into her suitcase. She won't remember the leap of excitement in her stomach at the plan forming in her mind, a plan that will get her out and away from the eerie house her mother will never return to. Because no matter how often Iris was gone, Maggie always knew that she would be coming home soon, and this will never again be true. Maggie won't remember ignoring a call from Lucia, too scared that if she picked up and told Lucia about it, she'd chicken out or be convinced that she should stay and do her duty. She won't remember thinking that it'll serve them right, Peter especially, that he should be forced to deal with the half-strangers showing up to the Shiva. But in the moment, as she keeps moving the stack of letters around the room while she packs, as if they might disappear, as if she might lose her excuse to get the beep out of there, in the moment she's a jumble of nerves, her hands shaking as she tells herself that this is the right thing to do, that she needs to know what these letters are about, that Iris owes her this much after giving the rings to Ariel, that strangely she owes this to Iris no matter how mad she is, because a will is a kind of last request. She finds the amber necklace in her jeans pocket from yesterday and tucks it into a small zipped compartment inside her backpack. And that's when she decides to leave and goes out on this adventure. I found this book really intriguing. You want to know who these men are to Iris. As I said, it's evident that they're her lovers, but you really want to know how their stories entwine, and the author does a really good job of giving you Iris's perspective and Maggie's perspective. One of the other really cool things to note about this book and about the author, the main character, Maggie, is a lesbian, and the author herself identifies as queer, and there are a lot of topics of sexuality, gender in this book that are brought up in such a beautiful way. They really bring up the topic, don't hit you over the head with it, but cause you to think about the way that we relate to the people that we love, sexuality and gender and the difference between the two, and what love is at its core, and how we form relationships with people around us, and what makes us love people, and what leaves lasting impressions on us. So this is a really great book. I recommend it. All My Mother's Lovers, we have it in our collection. I hope that you check it out. And if you do read it, please let us know what you think. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.